Nice to see you again. In this video, we will work with the third sample lesson plan. In this video, besides objectives and activities, we will be looking at the instructions in the lesson plan. Now, go to Learn V03 to study the third textbook section. This is an extract from Tiếng Anh 7, Tập 1, Unit 1, My Hobbies, Lesson 3, A Closer Look 2. Like the other previous two examples, it is also necessary to get to know the textbook section before looking at the lesson plan. Read the textbook section carefully and answer the guiding questions. What is the objective of this section? How many parts are there? And what is the purpose of each part? What are the strong points and weak points of each part? Come back to the video when you're ready. Talking about objectives of this section. As introduced in the teacher's book, Closer Look 2 deals with the main grammar point of the unit. The new language point is presented in a short text or talk or an interview. There are grammar tables and exercises which are well illustrated to help students remember and use the grammar items effectively. The remember boxes appear whenever necessary to help students to avoid common errors. This particular section aims at providing students a chance to review and use two grammar points. The first one is a review of present simple and future simple, and the second one is verbs of liking that are followed by verb ing. Following the same principle of teaching grammar in this new textbook, activities are ordered in the PPP sequence: presentation, practice, and production. For the first grammar point, present simple and future simple, maybe because this is a review section, the textbook writer has omitted the stage of presenting the language point, but chooses to start off right away with the practice stage. Exercise 1, giving the correct form of the verbs, is a controlled practice to make sure that the students are confident with the form and usage of the two tenses. Exercise 2 is also another controlled practice with the present simple tense. After that, exercise 3 gives students room for much freer practice, again using the present simple tense. Students have to work in groups to ask and give information about their hobbies, then report to the whole class. This is an authentic task in which the students can personalize the task. I mean, sharing about their own hobbies. For weaker students, the task becomes less challenging thanks to the example table and model report in exercise 2. On one hand, this section certainly has some strong points. It can be said that this lesson is relatively well designed, and the activities help to reach the aims of the lesson, which is helping students to review the use of present simple and future simple tense. The knowledge is arranged from easy to more difficult one. The previous task scaffolds the next ones. Control practice is followed by freer ones at the end. This not only makes it easier for the students to understand, but also helps them to reinforce their knowledge effectively. On the other hand, we still need some adaptations. First, it is necessary to include a simple presentation stage here. Although this grammar point has already been taught, a quick run-through of the theory is necessary to help students, especially weak learners, to recall previously learned knowledge. We will talk about some suggestions later in the next part. Second, do you see that there is an imbalance between the practice of present simple tense and the practice of future simple tense here? It seems that this section puts more focus on the present simple tense. Let's move to another grammar point of the lesson: verbs of liking plus verb ing. The presentation stage here is a simple note regarding the structure In practice 1, we have a simple exercise asking students to complete the sentences using the correct form of the verbs in the box. In practice 3, there is a less controlled task in which students can practice at sentence level by making sentences using the structure based on the visual cues provided. And in production, students can produce sentences more freely. Generally speaking, you should agree with me that this section in the textbook is relatively well designed, well sequenced in terms of activities. There is a good balance between Stowell and Settlers, individual work and pair work and group works, controlled and freer practice. That's why there won't be much to talk about the activities. However, in order to fix some minor problems mentioned earlier, some minor adaptations still need to be made. Now, let's come to have a closer look at a sample lesson plan for this section to see how the teacher will teach it. Pause this video, come back to learn V03 to study the sample lesson plan, and answer the following questions. First, what are the objectives set by the teacher? Are they well defined? Why or why not? Has the teacher made any necessary adaptations to the lesson's activities? Would you like to do differently? What do you think about the instructions in the lesson plan? And if you were the students, would you know exactly what to do? Welcome back. Have you got the answer to these questions? It is clear from the lesson that the teacher has made some minor adaptations to make the lesson more effective. An example is the warm-up edit that gives the student a very good chance to revise the form and usage of the present simple and the future simple tense. Another example is the change from written production to spoken production for the very last activity with the second grammar point. However, that doesn't mean that this lesson plan is without any flaws. I guess by now you have found the problems with the objectives and instructions. First, in terms of objectives, the teacher here has made a typical mistake when writing an immeasurable objective. How can the teacher know that the students have understood something? Again, refer to the Bloom's taxonomy action verbs and make sure that the objectives are observable. This is a suggestion. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to, first, accurately use the present and future simple tenses. Second, accurately use the combination verbs of liking and verbing. Second, in terms of instructions, in the left column of the lesson plan, you can find instructions for both the teacher and the students. However, the instructions here are inadequate and poorly organized. For most of the tasks and activities, the instructions are not detailed enough to fully inform the students. Something is missing here, right? If you were a student, would you know what to do and how to do it effectively without specific guidelines? Even when there are general instructions in the textbook, the students still need detailed guidance from the teacher. More importantly, in some tasks, some explanation is needed to ensure that the students fully understand how to do a task. Let's take the word frequency in task 3A as an example. Besides introducing the task, the teacher needs to explain the meaning of the word frequency. Last but not least, by saying the instructions are poorly organized, I mean there is not a clear distinction between what the teacher and the students will do. Teachers' and students' activities are presented unsystematically in the same column. Therefore, it may cause confusion for both the teacher and the students when it comes to practice in class. To avoid this, remember to provide students with detailed step-by-step instructions. And in the lesson plan, the teacher and the students' activities should be divided into different sections, or you can use columns to make it easier to follow. To sum up, in this module, we have just carefully analyzed 3 sample lesson plans to better understand typical mistakes made in lesson planning. With this practical experience, I guess you're more confident now, to some extent, to write your future lesson plans effectively. Goodbye!